What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. This is your usual reactor hunt video. I make one of these every week for the First Descendant because every week on Tuesday they change the locations where you can farm reactors, and so therefore there are potentially new places where you can go look for the specific reactor that you're looking for and therefore get kitted out. Now this video is going to cover from the 17th of December until the 24th of December, and it's actually a pretty big week for a few reasons. The first one being that this is also the week that the new reactor changes are going to go live. So a lot of people who were previously avoiding farming reactors can potentially have reasons now to do it, because we're not going to see dead stats on reactors anymore, which is a massive W. Secondly, there are a huge amount of potentially good farming sites this week for especially non-attribute related descendants. So I will be detailing each and every one of those. But I think the first thing we should do is probably talk about my voice. No, I'm joking, but I do want to mention that I am dealing with the worst case of bronchitis at the moment ever, so I kind of have these coughing fits in between. So if there's some weird cuts and stuff like that, I do apologize. It is what it is. But the first thing we have to talk about is how I compile this information. Now, of course, you can create yourself a table like this. This table essentially shows you all of the descendants with their meta / best in slot reactor choices next to them. What we can then also do is use that information to create a list like this, which shows us that we can farm for multiple descendants at the same time, since their meta / best in slot reactors are the same. A good example would be Esiemo and Lepic, who both use fire and tech, and of course that's because their abilities that deal damage, you know, where their power is derived from, is fire and tech. Now once you have this information in hand, finding it in game is super easy, because you can go M and then you can go F, or basically map and difficulty level rewards, and then you can simply put in the element and, you know, the type that you're looking for, and it spits out a location if there's a farming location that week, and you can go farm any mission in that area for some of these reactors. Now, the missions which I suggest, however, are areas which have, let's say, higher than normal reactor drops per hour. So the idea would be that you could efficiently farm this area and drag out as many of these reactors as possible, thereby increasing your chances of getting what is a good reactor with some sexy substats on. Now, coincidentally, we do start with Esiemo and Lepic this week. So this week, if you're looking for fire and tech, I've got some good damn news for you. So we're going to go here, we're going to go to fire, we're going to go to tech, and that is going to spit out two areas for us. What we're looking for is the Grand Square. So this here has a mission called Kingston Surveillance Radar. You can use whichever descendant you have that's decent with AoE. I highly recommend Bunny to farm this area. The estimated playtime is 3 minutes or less per rotation, but you'll definitely do it faster than 3 minutes. It's basically 3 packs that you have to clean up in this small area, and hopefully you get some decent reactors to fall out of them. Next up, and starting us on our non-attribute reactor run, which there's basically for every kind of non-attribute reactor this week there's a farm for, which is awesome. This is for Ajax, Kyle, and Luna, but specifically if you are playing Luna to buff, so not the Luna that deals damage with AoEs, your reactor of choice is going to be non-attribute tech. It's going to look like this, materialized mechanics, so non-attribute tech. And if you're looking for that this week, there is a fantastic mission that I can take you to as soon as my keyboard works, and that is going to be non-attribute and tech, and that's going to be repository. Now, repository has a mission in it called Kuiper Mine, and it's one of these where essentially you activate a pad and then you have 7 mines that you have to dismantle. What we're going to do is we're not going to dismantle any of those mines. We're actually just going to stick in the middle of this area. If you have a decent AoE character like Bunny, Freyna, or pretty much someone with the Kingsguard lance, you can control this middle area and pretty much kill all the enemies that spawn around it. You're going to have about 5 minutes to do this, and in that time you're going to be able to rack up a pretty decent amount of gold, weapon XP, character XP, Kuiper, and of course the reactors that you're looking for. Good luck. Next up, if you're looking for reactors for Enzo, Yujin, and Luna once again, then you're looking for non-attribute singular. Now this is for damage dealing Luna and damage dealing Yujin, and that is because both of them have mods for their damage dealing builds, which essentially change their reactor type from the usual ones to singular. So for their AoE builds, you are going to want yourself one of these materialized singularity reactors, which is of course non-attribute singular. Now Enzo of course also uses this for damage dealing abilities in his kit. Now, if you are looking for that this week, then I have got good news for you again. So we're going to go non-attribute and singular, and we've got an area called classified area. This is actually in the sterile land, and there's a mission here called large nuclear reactor. So this says 10 minutes or less, but you can absolutely do this mission a lot faster than that. I suggest an AoE descendant like Reyna or Buffy, and you essentially go to the middle of this area and capture this. You're going to have a lot of melee enemies running in trying to stop you, and that means that they're running in to deliver you reactors as you kill them. So you'll be able to farm out quite a few of these. Good luck and happy hunting. Next up is Jayber, Valby, and Gley. They all like non-attribute dimension. It looks like this. So a materialized phase reactor. So if you're looking for anything for Jayber, Valby, and Gley this week, guess what? Got you covered. So we're going to go non-attribute, and we are going to go dimension. That is going to spit out a place called defense line. Now, those of you that have been with the game for a while will know that defense line in Fortress has an outpost called, this one over here. Well, it's just called an outpost, but it has an outpost down here. And this is the original Valby run, right? So essentially what you do is you go dust off your Valby, and you kind of like run around in this area. You kill all the reactors, and then you just sort of go on the outskirts of the outpost, killing all the enemies as they spawn while leaving the boss in the middle alone. So this gives you a huge amount of kills that you can do in about 2 minutes and 36 seconds. And these enemies, of course, all drop character XP, weapon proficiency, gold Kuiper, and yes, you guessed it, reactors. Now, I'm going to have a few of these Valby runs in this video. This is by far the least lucrative one because it's the Valby run, the original. They gutted the shit out of this thing. It still spits out a decent amount of reactors, but it's nothing compared to the other Valby run areas that I'm going to show you, and I just kind of want to temper expectations. If you're going back there after having done the Valby run originally, this shit is not nearly as good as it used to be, but hopefully you can still get some decent reactors. Last of the non-attributes is Yujin. If you are trying to build support Yujin, as in Healjin, so you want to be healing everybody, you are going to be looking for a non-attribute fusion reactor. Definitely not what I have there. So just let me quickly search out which one we want. We want something like this. So it needs to be non-attribute fusion, and that is materialized mixture. So if you are looking for a decent reactor for your Healjin, I've got good news for you. We're going to go over here, non-attribute and fusion, and that's going to give us an area called Mirage Stone. Now, Mirage Stone up here also has an outpost, which you can do in the Valby method, as I said, and that is far more lucrative than the other one that I just showed you right now. So this is going to spit out some decent XP, weapon proficiency, gold Kuiper, and of course reactors. The boss in the middle can be a little bit of a fucking dildo, and can sometimes wander into your stuff. So of course, take the time to stand on opposite ends of the arena, and of course shoot at him to pull him out of your water. Be sure to just modify your mods as well, not to be fully DPS orientated, because you will burn him down. So just do enough damage that you one tap the enemies that spawn, but not enough to kill him. And of course you can always use your fourth ability to just yank him out of the line if you want to do that, but hopefully you can get some decent reactors for your Healjin here. And Sharen is up this week, so she's of course the new ultimate descendant in season 2. So reactors for her, decent ones, are highly sought after. She has a decent farm this week. Her reactor of choice is tingling mixture, which is electric and fusion, and this is the main way in which she deals damage, electric and fusion, so you definitely want some of those. Now, if you want a decent farm for that this week, you're going to want to go over here, electric fusion, and you want this area called Rockfall. Very, very famous area for farming. It's in sterile land, and right off the pad here, you come to a mission called Anticipated Ambush Point. Another one of these, which is really, really good with a fast AoE character like Freyna or Bunny. You can also use Sharen with some of her new Descendant mods. Ultimate Descendant mods here would also work very well. King's Godlands, whatever. Just something that you can control the area with and kill these enemy packs as soon as they spawn. There are some yellow bars here. You get a decent chance at some code breakers. I usually get lucky with code breakers in this mission for some reason. They drop more often than not, I would say. That could just be something with me, but hopefully you can get some decent electric fusion reactors for your brand new Sharen builds to drop here. Then of course the new descendant, which was added in season 2, is Keelan. Now Keelan has his abilities are split 2-2, so he has 2 singular damage dealing abilities and he has 2 fusion damage dealing abilities. Now, if you are looking for a reactor for him that is fusion, I've got a good farm for you this week. So toxic and fusion, meaning toxic mixture. If you're looking for one of those bad puppies, then what you're going to want to do is come over here, toxic and fusion, and you're going to pick this area called Vermilion Waste. Now, surprise, surprise, go get that Valby, because there's another outpost in Vermilion Waste, which is in Agna Desert, where you can do the Valby method. This one also has a slightly horny boss, which tends to wander into the water, so be careful and actually pull him out, but make sure that you maximize on those 2 minutes and 36 seconds that you can kill the enemies on the outside to get as many of these reactors to drop. If you're looking for singular, unfortunately this week there isn't any decent, but we might see some good spots coming up in future weeks, and of course I'll be able to document that for you. And then last but not least, Viessa, who is super popular right now because of her ability to deal with the new intercept boss so, adeptly, especially if you build a cold-bloodedness, which by the way is a good point for this reactor hunt we're about to do. She also has a decent farm this week. So her reactor of choice, if you are playing cold-bloodedness and you want to use your fourth ability to basically kill everything, is Chill Tech. So that looks like this, frozen mechanics. And if that reactor type is what you're looking for this week, I have a really old but faithful farm spot for you. If you go to Chill and you go to Tech, then you're gonna see an area called Shipment Base. And Shipment Base has a mission right outside it called Fortress Outskirts. Now, again, I want to say that this mission used to be a lot better in terms of drops, but also weapon XP, Kuiper, gold, character XP, and all of that stuff, and has, I think, probably been nerfed like at least twice because it was that good. But essentially what you do with this mission is you go up, there are 4 of these pads, you activate all 4 pads, but you don't actually capture them. You just kill all the enemies that spawn around these pads, and you essentially go from pad to pad to pad to pad, essentially killing everything that spawns around that area. Now, naturally, these pads will capture themselves over time as enemies are not standing on them, and then as soon as all 4 pads are captured, you simply quit out of the mission and you come back in, rinse, repeat, get your reactors. So this actually still has a fairly decent drops of pretty much everything. You're going to pick up weapons and all kinds of shit here, but hopefully you're also going to get some decent reactors so you can get that Viessa build online. And then I made a point of mentioning this last week in the video as well, but if you're still looking to build up a farm suit, so basically external components that have like decent substats on for farming, like plus XP and plus gold, plus Kuiper, that sort of thing, then you can also use this system in the game to actually search for these external components. Now, there's not always decent farms, like both of these, for example, for auxiliary power is poopies. But if we, for instance, search on sensors this week, then we have a very decent farm in Abandoned Zone. Abandoned Zone is over here. It's an Echo Swamp, and there's a mission here called Environment Contamination Zone. Do this with a bunny or whichever character you can do this the fastest in. It's got a short little circuit that you run essentially. Bunch of yellow bars spawn inside this mission, as well as, again, decent chances at code breakers and stuff like that. Good XP, good weapon proficiency, gold, Kuiper, all the rest, and hopefully a fat sack of reactors that you can drag out the mission with you. And that's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Let me know in the comments what you are busy with in the game right now. Most people have a little bit of holiday time coming up now, and that's always a good time to game. If you are spending some of that time in the First Descendant, happy hunting. I hope you get all the drops you're looking for, and enjoy. As always, fucking cheers.